We will start then. Good morning and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar to hear about the power of capacity building schemes to move towards the zero waste Mediterranean region. Let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Mercè Boirroura and I'm the coordinator of the Med4Waste project and the head of the Governance for Sustainability group at the Beta Technological Center at the University of Vic, Central University of Catalonia. Today, I will be moderating this webinar. This event is organized by the Med4Waste project, which is a capitalization project funded by the ENI CBC Med program, which aims to promote new governance models for integrated and efficient solid waste management strategies. The Union for the Mediterranean supports the development and implementation of this project within the 2030 Greener Med agenda. This webinar is a part of the European Green Week as a partner event that this year focuses on the topic of skills for sustainable, resilient, and socially fair communities, in line with the Year of Skills. The objective of this type of partner events is basically to raise awareness about the importance of protecting the environment and promoting sustainable living practices to join and contribute to the green transition in the Mediterranean, in Europe, and everywhere else. Before we hear about the different opportunities and experiences on acquiring new skills from the projects and from the speakers that we will hear today, I would like to cover just a few housekeeping rules. First of all, remember that there is live interpretation in English, French, and Arabic, and you can change the language by clicking the interpretation icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen. During this webinar, there will be some speakers talking in English and some of them in French. Today's webinar is being recorded and it will be available on the Med4Waste website, and the link will be sent to all the registered participants after the event is complete. And last, we also invite your comments and questions. Please place them in the chat. Try to not intervene during the speeches, so place the questions in the chat box, and then the speakers will answer them live or in the same chat. As you could see in the agenda, the webinar is organized in 3 main sessions, starting with Med4Waste experiences, followed by capacity building good practices from different projects, and then there will be a panel discussion with different type of stakeholders representing the quadruple helix. So without further ado, we will start with the first session on speeding up the transition towards a zero waste Mediterranean by strengthening local governance. I'm going to hand the floor now over to Jumana Sbais, Program Officer for the NECBC Med Branch Office for Western Mediterranean, who is going to talk about the program experience and opportunities on capacity building, youth skills, and employment. Her presentation will be in French. Jumana, it's all yours.
Bonjour, merci. Alors tout d'abord, j'aimerais remercier...
Hey guys, so my friend is the troller. His name is Adam Mashek. If you could just leave me out of this.
Est-ce que je peux commencer mon intervention?
I think so. Avalingua, if you could check this microphone, thank you.
D'accord. Alors, bonjour, tout d'abord, j'aimerais remercier Beta, qui appartient à l'Université de Vic et coordinateur du projet Med4Waste, pour l'invitation. Le programme IEV-CTF Med, donc c'est l'acronyme du programme en français, NICBC Med, a participé pour la première fois à la Semaine verte européenne en 2021. Et à l'époque, l'édition portait sur pour une planète et des personnes qui vivent dans une planète plus saine. Et alors, à l'époque, on avait organisé un événement en ligne qui était comme une expédition verte. Et ça portait sur les jeunes, les activistes jeunes en Méditerranée vers du zéro déchet, zéro pollution. Et lors de cet événement, on avait organisé donc plusieurs sessions. Il y avait une session qui portait sur les activistes, les jeunes activistes en Méditerranée. À l'époque, pour remettre dans le contexte, pour situer, on était en pleine dans les grèves des vendredis qu'avait initié Greta Thunberg en 2018. Et donc, il y avait des mouvements comme Friday for Future, etc. Et on s'est posé la question, mais qu'est-ce qu'il en est des activistes de l'autre côté de la Méditerranée, au sud, puisqu'on parle beaucoup des jeunes activistes au nord de la Méditerranée, mais beaucoup moins au sud. Et donc là, on a voulu un peu identifier et mobiliser des militants du Sud, et on a eu des interventions, notamment d'une Libanaise qui est une militante chez Greenpeace au Liban, ou Live Life Love Recycle, une organisation initiée par Georges Bitar, qui a eu un déclic lors de la crise des ordures à Beyrouth en 2016. Et donc, c'était intéressant de voir aussi quel mouvement il y avait dans le sud de la Méditerranée. Et une autre partie de la session s'est portée sur des connexions en direct avec des expériences pilotes qu'on a financées à travers nos projets. Donc, notamment, on s'est connecté dans un village de Catalogne pour voir comment fonctionnait le site de compostage communautaire. Et on a également connecté avec un laboratoire en Tunisie qui étudie la présence de microplastiques dans les poissons qu'on consomme. Alors, pourquoi je vous raconte tout ça? Parce qu'en fait, à la fin de cet événement, il y avait une représentante de l'Union pour la Méditerranée qui a attiré l'attention sur plusieurs points. Premièrement, sur le constat que le degré de sensibilisation des jeunes au changement climatique est très différent selon la région méditerranéenne et que du coup, il fallait vraiment lutter contre ce manque d'accès ou cette inégalité d'accès à l'information sur le changement climatique. Et un deuxième point, c'était sur l'importance d'étendre les projets pilotes qui ont été mis en place et de porter cette attention aux décideurs politiques. Et du coup, l'Union pour la Méditerranée peut avoir un rôle là-dessus. Alors, je vous raconte tout ça pour un peu me centrer ma présentation sur deux points principaux qui portent sur cette intervention. C'est premièrement la nécessité de renforcer les capacités des jeunes. Et là, je vais vous donner quelques exemples à travers nos projets. Comme vous savez, le programme IEV-CTF Med n'est pas un programme thématique, c'est un programme qui n'est pas focalisé sur l'environnement ou la gestion des déchets. Et je vais vous donner des exemples qui ne sont pas étiquetés projets verts ou environnementaux, mais qui ont vraiment contribué au renforcement des capacités des jeunes vers du zéro déchet. Dans le domaine du textile, par exemple, on a un projet qui s'appelle Stand Up et un autre qui s'appelle Creative. Et dans le cadre de ce projet, ils ont vraiment soutenu des entrepreneurs à travers des bourses, des financements, du mentoring, de la formation, pour que ces jeunes puissent développer leur entreprise. Alors, on a au Liban, en Égypte, en Tunisie, des initiatives pour développer des teintures naturelles, pour utiliser des textiles plus respectueux de la nature, essentiellement à travers du recyclage de laine, de coton, de lin. Donc ça, c'est un exemple dans le secteur du textile. Dans le secteur de la gestion des déchets de la construction, on a un projet qui s'appelle Remède, qui est étiqueté, c'est un projet d'innovation et de recherche. Et dans le cadre de ce projet, ils sont en train de développer une filière de gestion des déchets de la démolition. Donc, comment, à partir des déchets de la construction, on peut réutiliser ce matériel, en faire des granulats qui vont être utilisés pour de nouvelles constructions. Et notamment, il y a un pilote qui va être mis en place dans les mois à venir. C'est la construction d'un tronçon de la RN3 en Tunisie, donc la route nationale en Tunisie, qui va être construite à partir de ces déchets de construction. Mais au-delà de ce projet pilote, il y a toute une dynamique de lancer des formations dans le domaine de l'économie circulaire, donc notamment auprès des jeunes ingénieurs civils ou des architectes, etc. Ensuite, on a d'autres projets dans le domaine de l'inclusion sociale qui sont aussi très intéressants. On a un projet qui s'appelle Resmile, qui porte vraiment sur comment aider les jeunes à développer des compétences durables. Et à travers ce projet Resmile, ils ont soutenu une dizaine d'associations pour promouvoir l'éco-citoyenneté. Alors peut-être on va vérifier que tout le monde a désactivé son micro pour pas qu'il y ait d'interférence. Est-ce que je continue? Bon, j'imagine que Merce et son équipe sont en train de vérifier si tout le monde a le micro désactivé. D'accord, donc je vais poursuivre. Je parlais d'un autre exemple du projet RISMAL qui a soutenu des échanges, notamment des jeunes méditerranéens du Sud qui sont allés se former et faire des stages au nord dans des entreprises éco-responsables et qui travaillent sur les thématiques d'environnement durable. Également, ils ont soutenu une vingtaine d'éco-entrepreneurs. Donc, il y a toute une dynamique de création d'une génération qui est beaucoup plus sensible et compétente dans ce domaine. Et enfin, un dernier exemple que je souhaiterais mentionner, c'est le projet Cluster, qui est coordonné par une entité catalane, Med4Waste, qui est actuellement en train de former des jeunes dans toute la Méditerranée, donc à Chypre, en Palestine, en Jordanie, en Espagne, etc., sur 4 secteurs. Donc, ce n'est pas des secteurs qui ont été choisis au hasard, c'est le résultat d'une analyse détaillée qui a été réalisée par le partenaire sur l'aquaponie, l'hydroponie, l'agriculture biologique et le processus alimentaire durable. Et l'avantage de cette formation, c'est qu'ensuite, ces jeunes, une partie de ces jeunes vont pouvoir faire un stage en entreprise rémunéré et donc pouvoir vraiment acquérir des nouvelles compétences entre guillemets vertes pour trouver un emploi dans des secteurs plus durables. Alors, la deuxième caractéristique, le deuxième point que j'aimerais souligner, c'est la dimension de capitalisation que le programme promeut. Donc, dans le cadre de notre programme, on a lancé 3 appels. Le premier appel, on a financé une quarantaine de projets standards. Le deuxième appel, on a financé environ 25 projets stratégiques. Et enfin, le dernier appel, on a financé une quinzaine de projets de capitalisation, dont Med4Waste est un exemple que l'équipe de Med4Waste va expliquer par la suite lors de ce webinaire. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'on entend par capitalisation? On entend une mutualisation et une réplicabilité des expériences pilotes qui ont été mises en œuvre dans le cadre de nos projets ou des projets financés par d'autres programmes en Méditerranée. Et dans ce sens-là, c'est très intéressant, je reviens sur le point des décideurs politiques, c'est qu'en fait, si on arrive à démontrer l'utilité de ces pilotes, que ça fonctionne bien et qu'il y a une capacité de réplicabilité, c'est un bon moyen pour convaincre les autorités publiques et tous les décideurs publics dans le domaine de la gestion des déchets ou du zéro pollution de croire en nos projets et de vouloir assurer une continuité. Enfin, j'aimerais terminer mon intervention sur les futures opportunités de financement dans ce domaine. Donc, comme vous le savez, dans quelques mois, nous allons lancer le premier appel du programme Interreg NextMed, qui va remplacer le programme actuel IEV-CTF-Med. Et dans le cadre de ce programme Interreg NextMed, il y a plusieurs composantes. Il y a le volet vers une transition verte, une Méditerranée vers une transition verte, une Méditerranée plus compétitive et plus intelligente pour appuyer et soutenir les entreprises et les PME. Et également une Méditerranée plus inclusive et plus sociale, on va dire. Et enfin, vers une meilleure gouvernance. Alors, dans toute cette panoplie d'opportunités, j'aimerais mentionner 3 opportunités qui sont spécifiques à la thématique d'aujourd'hui. Premièrement, dans le domaine d'une Méditerranée plus inclusive et plus sociale, on a une ligne de financement qui porte sur l'éducation et le renforcement des capacités des jeunes. Lors du premier appel, on prévoit de consacrer 20% du budget pour soutenir des projets menés par des organisations de jeunes et qui est mieux placé que les jeunes pour savoir quelles sont les compétences dont ils ont besoin pour trouver un emploi dans ce secteur-là. Et enfin, on a une ligne de financement spécifique pour renforcer la coopération, la gouvernance locale, donc renforcer les relations entre citoyens et organisations, enfin autorités publiques, on va dire. Et donc là, je pense que c'est aussi une opportunité clé si on veut vraiment assurer l'engagement des municipalités, par exemple, dans le domaine du zéro déchet. Voilà un petit aperçu sur des exemples de renforcement des capacités des jeunes dans ce domaine et des futures opportunités de financement dans les mois à venir. Voilà, merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Jumana, for this overview and the support of the program always to finance the direct contribution to pilot experiences for waste management and other topics, of course, and also the opportunities for youth people, especially on acquiring new skills and new capacities. We will wait for sure the new upcoming calls for the Interreg Next Med in order to continue contributing to this green transition with several projects. Now it will be the turn of Aleix Valls from the VTTech Center, who will introduce the Med4Waste project briefly and will put the emphasis on the Med4Waste online course. Please, you can go ahead.
Hi, welcome everybody. You can see my screen,
Yeah,
right?
Perfect.
Perfect. So I just, well, I'm going to say, as Jumana mentioned, the Med4Waste is a capitalization project, which, I mean, she already explained a little bit, but basically what it means is that we identify successful practices on previously funded projects, and then we try to put those practices in a way that they can be replied and reused and disseminate. And then the next step is the mainstream that, so that I have those practices be able to affect policymakers and decision makers. I'll go a little bit into detail later. So the Med4Waste, as you can see, has 7 partners from 6 different countries, from Spain, Italy, Greece, from the northern Mediterranean, then Tunisia, Lebanon, and Jordan from the south. But apart from that, there's a lot of associated partners. We also count with the projects that we capitalize and their partners. So overall, there's a total of more than 60 stakeholders that are joining together in the project. And just very briefly, because we are short on time, so the first step is the creation of this what we call catalog of case studies, which means a compilation of all these successful practices from the projects. Then with these practices, we try to disseminate them with different ways. Today we will talk about 2 of them, but we also do a lot of awareness raising events and similar campaigns. And then the last step is the mainstreaming conferences, so creating conferences such as this one or other conferences close to high-level summits and such. And in the end, the creation of a policy toolkit, which is like a compendium, basically, of all these practices in a way that they are very actionable and very transferable for policymakers. But again, today we will focus on these 2 for the Med4Waste circular economy course, which I will explain now, and then the mentoring schemes for municipalities, which is also a great program that my colleague Noé will talk about it later, and we will also be able to hear some examples. So what I'm going to talk is again the course. This is what we call a MOOC, a massive online open course, which means that it's open for everybody. We develop it with the target in mind to targeting municipality staff that works in waste management, but it's and other stakeholders, but it's obviously open to anyone who's interested in the topic. It's self-paced and has a self-assessment, so you can do it at your own pace. There's no dates or deadlines or anything. You don't have to start by the beginning and then go through. You can pick a little bit if there's a topic that it's more interesting to you or that you think it's more useful. You can pick that first and then move to other topics. You have to complete it all, but it doesn't need to be in a linear way. It's obviously free of charge. It's open to anyone, as I said. And it's hosted in the UBIC's or UBIC, University of Big platform, which is called Ubiqua. And as for now, I mean, this is open now. We are launching it today, which is very exciting. Now it's only in English, but it will be translated in Arabic pretty soon. If we will try to do it as soon as possible, but for sure by the end of the summer, it will be also translated in Arabic, and we will also try to disseminate it in Arabic-speaking countries. Now I'll get a little bit into just a little bit again, like 1 minute on the contents of the course, which is also the important part. First, there's like what we call like more like a conceptual block or part, which it gives a lot of theoretical background in one chapter about what the system that it's currently used. It's more like the linear economy, what all the problems with the linear economy and the pitfalls that it has, and then also the different waste management systems used across the Mediterranean region. And then we have the circular economy, so kind of like the next step and the change of paradigm that the circular economy can bring. But this again is just more like on a theoretical level. And then the next block is going down more to the practices. There's a lot of case studies, a lot of good practices, a lot from taken from the projects that we capitalize, as I mentioned. Others taken from other projects that are really interesting from the literature, and also the research that's been doing now. Here, there's a lot of, I mean, they are divided, as you can see, by reviews, reuse, and recycling and composting strategies by different chapters. But there's a lot of different advice for all businesses, municipalities, citizens. There's a lot of good practices to follow. And then the last chapter, I mean, it's not a part, it's just like the last chapter, it gives advice specifically on how to apply or to implement these practices at a municipal, business, or your own citizen individual level. So even it's not a big chapter, it's pretty important and crucial to the process. Again, this is just a very quick overview. We encourage you to go into the course. You can register now. I'll put the link in the chat right now. Also, yeah, sorry, I forgot the team that is behind this. So there's the development team, which is all that you can see, the people from the ReZero Foundation, which are experts in waste management and helped a lot developing the material for the course. And then the people from Beta, Maria Calderón and myself, that will be in charge. We also developed the mock, but we also will be in charge of managing it while the people enroll it, and then people have questions, or just managing all the students and the course lot. And then I'll try. I mean, this is what we said, but I'll try to show to you actually the course. I created a. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can. And just
so
very shortly.
Yeah, so this is just what the course looks like. This is just an enrolled student. Here you can see the different chapters. One thing that is important is that you have to remember to select English, because if not, the chapter will not appear. Here it appears Catalan because I'm from here, but I think that for everybody else, English will appear, but just in case, make sure to select English in the language, and then you can go here to have the different chapters. And in the different chapters, I mean, it's better to follow it online, as I said, but you can just pick and choose whatever you find topic more interesting. And then in the announcements, there will be several threads that you can reply. You can give support if there's an issue, or also if you're interested in the Arabic translation. And I think that's it for me. Very quickly.
Great.
I'll just put the link right on the chat right now.
Exactly. I was gonna ask you that, Alish. Thank you for your presentation, and it's great to hear the launch of this new online course on waste management made by the Med4Waste project. So please, anybody that is interested in learning more on this topic, you can enroll in the course, first in English, and later on it will be in Arabic too. We will now move to the another important activity, as Aleix mentioned, of the Med4Waste project, which are the mentoring schemes. Noe Vierma from Med Cities will give an overview of what has been done so far, and then we will hear about 2 local experiences from cities in Lebanon and Tunisia that take part of this activity.
Thank you, Marcia. Good morning, everyone. I will explain very briefly what is the Med4Waste mentoring scheme, and then I will pass the floor to my colleagues from Derkanon El Naher in Lebanon and Mahdia in Tunisia, so we can hear about their local experiences. So just 2 words about Med Cities to understand why we are running this activity. Med Cities is a network of 73 municipalities from all the shores of the Mediterranean basin. Actually, we are present in 17 countries, and mostly we develop international projects among our municipalities in 5 main topics: strategic planning, environment and biodiversity, social cohesion, economic development, and sustainable urban services. So what is the mentoring scheme in one slide? Basically, it's a program that provides guidance and technical support to 6 municipalities, 2 from Lebanon, 2 from Jordan, and 2 from Tunisia, in charge of planning, collecting, or managing waste. It has 4 main activities that we'll explain later in detail. The first one, and the core one, let's say, is the improvement or the development of an integrated municipal waste management plan. The second one is to implement a small tailor-made action aligned with the plan development. The third one is to organize a twinning or an exchange program with the city from any project that the Med4Waste project is capitalizing on to learn about a replicable output. And the last one is a social entrepreneurship program to support 2 local SMEs or startups in the municipalities that we are working on a challenge that we have previously identified during the diagnosis phase. So just to explain you, the main activity, let's say, is the improvement for those municipalities that has already a plan or the development of an integrated municipal waste management plan. For this activity, we have 13,000 euros that is mostly used to hire some technical local experts that are accompanying the municipalities in the development of the plan. The 2 main outputs that they are developing is the first, the diagnosis of the state of the waste management in the municipality, and of course then the plan that includes a selection of list of actions or projects that the municipalities can develop in the near future. The second activity is to implement, let's say, a small pilot action in one of those projects identified during the diagnostics phase. We have 5,000 euros for each municipality to implement this pilot action. After our colleagues from Lebanon and Tunisia will explain us what they are developing. But just to give you another example, in Msaken in Tunisia, that they are developing for the first time a waste management plan. The action will be to organize the collection of packaging waste in the main street of the souk, which will include like small scale diagnosis, development of a small plan, and mostly a capacity building training for small shop owners and those who are collecting informally this type of waste. The third activity is it's a twinning program with another city taking part in one of the other projects that we are capitalizing on. So basically the idea is to organize a study visit to another city in order to learn about an output that they have developed through another MEL program. As you can see on the screen, these are the 6 municipalities we are currently working on. In 3 of them, we are developing for the first time a waste management plan. In the rest, we are just updating this plan and trying to identify potential projects on waste management to be implemented in the near future. You can see the twinning program, the twinning project, any project that we are currently working on. So basically, just to give you an idea of what these study visits are going to be. So for instance, Birein and Emsaken, that they are partnering up with the Clima project, they will visit Sesti Levante in Italy to learn about the participatory process in the development of the plans and the pay-as-you-throw tax. Akara Latia in Lebanon will visit IRID in Jordan, who has implemented zero waste policy guidelines in the city. The municipality of Magdia will actually in 2 weeks visit the city of Vic in Barcelona to learn about the community compost plan. And finally, the Canon and Madaba in Jordan, they visit the city of Cordoba in Spain to learn about the implementation of reuse circuits and infrastructures. Finally, the last activity of the mentoring scheme, it's a social entrepreneurship program for 2 local SMEs and startups. This activity is actually run by BusinessMed. It's one of the project partners, which is actually the union of Mediterranean Confederation of Enterprises, that through their technical expertise will accompany 2 SMEs or startups in one of these municipalities to give an answer to let's say to a challenge that has been identified during the diagnosis phase of the plan. So for this action, we have 5,000 euros for each SME that will develop this tailor-made solution. So that was all I wanted to share with you. Now I would like to give the floor to our colleague, Dr. Fatima Yassin. She's a doctor in biomaterial science and engineering, and the responsible for the waste management program in the Canon El Naher in Lebanon. So Fatima, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Noe, for the presentation, Alex, as well, Jumana, and I thank, of course, Med4Waste, MedCities, BusinessMed, and everyone who collaborated with us during this project. And as you saw, we already had some activities done during this mentoring scheme at Der Kanun al-Nahr. And just to make it a bit more clear for you, at Der Kanun al-Nahr in Lebanon, we are pioneers in our region in managing our solid waste, because in Lebanon, as Jumana said, there were many crises concerning solid waste, one in 2015, then one in 2019 in different cities as well. And municipalities now are responsible of the full management of the solid waste concerning, especially that we are having an economic crisis in Lebanon. So we are not really supported by the government. The local authorities now are supercharged with those responsibilities. So since 2019, we implemented our facility for secondary sorting, and we implemented the infrastructure in the village in order to do the sorting at source, which is recommended also by the government in the Lebanese law. Since 2019, we had a dramatic a dramatic change in the economic status of the municipality and also in the demographic distribution over there. So what we did in 2019 is a bit different from what is currently available or present on field. And this is what this mentoring scheme apported, or what this mentoring scheme added value to our waste management plan. Since the diagnosis revealed the gaps that should be filled in this field, especially that we have almost all the residents as permanent residents in the village. In addition, we identified the challenges, and I think it's because we worked on many projects at the municipality. I think this is the most rapid one in identifying the challenges, working with the expert and following up with our partners at MedCities. And I think that highlighting the capacity building, as also Alex mentioned, the capacity building and the awareness raising campaigns, in addition to the tailor-made activities, were just let's say, fulfilling the needs of our municipality at this dramatic phase of the waste management plan. The demographic change, I mean that because of the economic crisis, there are too many people that lived in Beirut, for example, or in the cities, who moved to the village. So we had some new people who do not know about our solid waste management plan. In addition, because we are facing an economic crisis, so the municipality couldn't afford raising more awareness campaigns or renovating the infrastructure, and this was reflected directly by a decrease. Let's say it was not significant, but it was a decrease in the quality of the recyclables at the secondary facility. In addition, we had also a change in the number of Syrian refugees in the village, since we have Syrian refugees here since the war in Syria. And this also affected the quality of the recyclables. Concerning the visit to Cordoba, as I said there at Cordoba, when you ask people for an advice or you discuss things with them, it's like you're owning their thoughts, their minds, their brains. In Arabic, we say "Man shawara rijala malaku aqulahum." So it was like just seeing on site, because seeing on site is very different from reading on a website or just meeting somebody and talking about a project. Seeing on site some initiatives, some activities that are done there at Cordoba, but in different contexts that we are from that we are. Of course, it's culturally different. That's why I believe that we adapted some solutions to fit with our situation here in our village, to be available also, or to be more efficient with our citizen at the level of the reuse culture. So for me, I believe it will be a fruitful journey, and we are already seeing the impact at the municipality. Since the diagnosis report, it was just like going from the practice to theory. So Alex, you teach in your course theory to practice. We were practicing, but we were not maybe following directly the theory. So now we know perfectly the theory of the waste management in our context. We know in a concrete way the steps that were followed. We assessed what we did before, and we have a clear vision for the future. And we are also working in a tailor-made activity, for example, to upgrade our management to be more sustainable, but to have more impact in the neighboring as well. So I thank you all very much, and especially the MedCities team who are following with us all the time with meetings and anything that we need. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fatima. I will give now the floor to Mohamed Bouzafara. He is responsible for international cooperation at Mahdia municipality. Please, Monsieur Bouzafara.
Bonjour tout le monde. Bonjour Noé, bonjour tous les partenaires du projet. Donc, je vous remercie infiniment pour cette opportunité d'être présent avec vous et de partager ces moments de réussite de notre expérience dans le cadre du mentorat pour la ville de Mahdia. Donc, tout d'abord, permettez-moi de me présenter. Moi, c'est Mohamed Boussofara, cadre municipal à la municipalité de Mahdia, responsable de la coopération internationale et des projets ENI CBCMED. Donc, je vais partager avec vous une présentation, celle de le mentorat et son impact sur la capitalisation des résultats du projet climat. Le projet climat, c'est un projet standard de l'ENI. Donc, donc voilà, donc je vais tout d'abord présenter brièvement le projet climat. Vous voyez ma présentation ou non?
Oui, oui, on la voit.
Oui, d'accord. Alors, pour le projet climat, donc il y a les work packages, bien entendu, pareil pour tous les projets. Donc, le work package 1, 2, donc le 1, c'est l'administration et donc la gestion administrative et financière. La deuxième, c'est donc la communication. Troisième, c'est donc la mise en place d'un plan d'aménagement, d'un plan de gestion des déchets ménagers. Et ici, donc, que nous allons parler de ça. Et bien entendu, le Work Package 4, c'est la mise en place d'une unité de compostage des déchets ménagers qui a été réalisée dans le cadre du projet climat. Donc, je vais passer brièvement sur les activités ou bien les Work Package du projet climat pour donc me focaliser sur le mentorat et bien entendu le plus important c'est l'implication de la municipalité de Mahdia dans ce mentorat pour bénéficier de l'expérience et pour bien entendu pour essayer de tirer les leçons de Med4Waste pour améliorer les résultats obtenus sur le terrain pour le projet climat. Donc, tout d'abord, on voit très bien donc, les deux sigles du projet donc, climat et Med4Waste, ils se rassemblent énormément. De là, donc, nous, on a participé donc, à ce mentorat avec d'autres communes tunisiennes et on a eu la chance d'être sélectionné par les organisateurs de ce mentorat pour bénéficier de cette assistance technique pour améliorer les résultats obtenus. Donc, le mentorat, donc l'amélioration, le premier axe, c'est l'amélioration du PCGD, le plan communal de gestion des déchets. Donc, la commune de Mahdia a réalisé son premier plan de gestion des déchets ménagers en 2018, même avant l'adhésion au projet climat. Donc, on est parmi les rares communes tunisiennes qui a eu la chance de mettre en place avec, bien entendu, avec ses propres moyens financiers, de mettre en place une première version du PCGD que nous avons eu la chance d'améliorer une première fois dans le cadre du projet climat et une deuxième fois dans le cadre et dans le deuxième cas, c'est bien entendu la deuxième mise à jour, c'est dans un contexte d'économie circulaire. Donc, la version 2.0, elle optait sur donc l'actualisation des fiches projets, des activités au sein au sein du PCGD, mais avec cette mise à jour. Donc, on a donc le projet Med4Waste, il a contracté un bureau d'études spécialisé dans la mise à jour des PCGD. On a analysé les points donc à améliorer en relation directe avec l'économie circulaire, surtout avec l'économie circulaire, pour trouver des solutions innovantes dans la gestion des déchets ménagers. Ce n'est pas uniquement la gestion connue par tous les communes. Donc, cette amélioration, elle touche aussi la station de compostage. On savait très bien que la station de compostage, elle est dédiée à la gestion des déchets d'un quartier pilote où la ville de Madia a mis en place le tri à la source. Donc, pour 1 tonne de déchets ménagers contre 4 tonnes de déchets verts qui seront transférés dans la station de compostage pour bien entendu, donc la transformer en compost. Mais une fois qu'on a démarré la collecte des déchets ménagers, on a trouvé donc un manque considérable dans les quantités de déchets ménagers collectés dans le site pilote, le quartier pilote. Environ 300 ménages qui ont bénéficié donc, de cette technique de tri à la source. On a donc orienté nos efforts vers les grands producteurs de déchets ménagers, donc, les hôtels et les restaurants universitaires et aussi les hôpitaux dans la région de Madia. Donc tout ça pour augmenter cette capacité de traitement des déchets. Donc au début, on planifiait 1 tonne de déchets ménagers collectés dans les ménages, dans le quartier pilote, mais réellement, on n'arrivait pas plus que 200 à 300 kg maximum par jour, donc chose qui est insuffisante pour le bon fonctionnement de la station de compostage. Donc, on a orienté nos efforts avec le bureau d'études qui a été engagé par Med4Waste pour tout d'abord analyser les déchets des hôtels et les inviter à pratiquer le tri à la source pour éviter donc que ces déchets arrivent à la station de compostage et contaminent les quantités déjà traitées. De ce fait, donc, nous avons commencé une action de collecte de données dans les hôtels pour savoir les quantités et les types et les fractions de déchets produits par ces hôtels. Il y a aussi un fonds considérable, celui des déchets verts des hôtels qu'on doit aussi utiliser dans la station de compostage d'environ 500 tonnes par année. Donc, les hôtels Amadia, donc, ils ont des grands jardins, des arbres et tout ça. Donc, et ces déchets verts ils seront d'une grande utilité pour la station de compostage pour permettre cette gestion des déchets et cette transformation en déchets ménagers, plutôt en compost. Donc, la deuxième action, c'est donc mener une campagne de sensibilisation avec les citoyens dans le cadre aussi de ce mentorat. Donc, on a préparé une note, donc le bureau d'études il a préparé une note conceptuelle pour donc améliorer le côté sensibilisation et améliorer les résultats du tri. Bien entendu, étendre encore et essayer donc d'engager plus de ménages dans ce quartier pilote. Donc, peut-être donc ajouter 50 ou bien 100 ménages supplémentaires pour couvrir cette action de tri à la source pour donc améliorer ce travail-là. Donc, cette note conceptuelle, donc, elle nous a guidé aussi vers donc, une analyse des besoins des citoyens en matière de formation, de communication et de savoir-faire de tri à la source. Donc, cette action, elle est en train de se mettre en place et on va très bientôt donc démarrer les travaux de sensibilisation. Donc, la troisième action, ou bien la troisième activité dans le cadre du mentorat, c'est donc ce jumelage et ce partage d'expérience avec d'autres projets ENI. Et pour la ville de Mahdia, donc nous, on a opté pour le projet des Costes parce que, donc, tout simplement, il y a une station de compostage qui a été réalisée dans le cadre des activités du projet des Costes et nous, on voulait bien savoir plus la gestion de cette installation-là et le mode de fonctionnement pour améliorer les compétences des cadres municipaux qui seront donc en voyage d'études, et ce sera très prochainement, donc dans la semaine prochaine du 21 au 23 du mois de juin. Donc cette formation ou bien ce voyage d'études, il permettra d'améliorer la gestion de la station de compostage de Mahdia et bien entendu donc finaliser tous les circuits de collecte et le processus de transfert des déchets. Aussi, et le quatrième axe, c'est donc cette activité supplémentaire avec les startups et les petites et moyennes entreprises. On a eu hier donc une discussion avec nos collègues de BusinessMed sur les options choisies par la ville de Mahdia pour mettre en place cette action-là. Donc nous avons donc opté pour deux options. La première, c'est la mise en place d'une station, plutôt d'une application smartphone qui sera installée sur les téléphones et sur les PC administratifs. Cette plateforme, elle va permettre aux agents municipaux, aux cadres, aux responsables, aux dirigeants de la municipalité, de gérer en temps réel la collecte des déchets ménagers et le transfert vers la station de compostage. Bien entendu, c'est un travail en interne et cet outil informatique il va permettre l'amélioration de ces résultats et bien entendu développer l'activité de gestion des déchets ménagers. Aussi, donc, on a opté pour une deuxième application dans le cadre de cette activité 4, c'est donc la mise en place d'une application. Cette fois-ci, elle est avec le citoyen, donc pour communiquer directement avec le citoyen et l'informer lui donner les informations de la municipalité et l'informer des horaires de collecte, de changement et permettre aussi aux citoyens de donner son avis et d'informer la municipalité sur les anomalies qui peuvent survenir lors de la collecte et de la levée des déchets ménagers. Donc, ces deux applications smartphone, une en interne pour le personnel et les dirigeants et une en externe pour les citoyens, donc un outil de communication entre le citoyen et la municipalité va permettre, bien entendu, d'améliorer la visibilité de la commune et du travail municipal par rapport aux citoyens, donc et laisser tout ouvert devant le citoyen pour qu'il entre en communication et il manifeste son mécontentement ou bien ses remarques par rapport, donc en relation avec les déchets, avec la collecte, avec les circuits, avec donc la qualité de service présenté par la municipalité et aussi permettra aux dirigeants, aux responsables municipaux de, bien entendu, d'avoir un retour, un feedback de la part des citoyens pour, bien entendu, le but c'est d'améliorer encore et encore davantage collecte à travers cet outil-là. Voilà donc les quatre axes que nous avons, que nous sommes en train de développer. On est pratiquement à mi-parcours. Donc, normalement, dans un mois, on sera on arrivera à la mise en place réelle de toutes ces actions-là. J'espère bien entendu que nous aurons la chance de travailler et de finir ce beau travail avec nos collègues de Med4Waste pour, bien entendu, améliorer les résultats du projet climat. Et merci pour votre attention.
Merci beaucoup, Mohamed. Thank you for your interventions, Fatima, as well. It's great to hear the local experience and how you can adapt the results from the capitalization projects of the Med4Waste to your territory. It's great to hear these experiences. Now we will move to the second session, and we will start directly with the presentation of Dolores Matumbu from E3D Environment, lead partner of the Medina project, and she will explain how they engage citizens from municipalities achieving a zero waste approach with the innovative tool GDCD. She will speak in French.
Yes, just I want to share my screen. It's okay for everybody?
Sure.
Okay. Alors, pour vous parler un petit peu du projet Medina. Le projet Medina est une initiative européenne pour la réduction et la réalisation, la réutilisation et le recyclage des déchets ménagers. Donc, c'est un projet qui a une durée de 3 ans avec un budget de 2 381 221,51 000 €. Sur ce projet-là, ce projet implique 5 pays, donc la France.
Excusez-moi, Dolores.
Oui.
We cannot see the presentation. Can you try to share it again? Otherwise, we will do it.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Is it okay now?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. You can go ahead.
Ok, alors ce que je disais, c'est que c'est un projet qui implique 5 pays. La France, donc en France, on est 2 partenaires, la Vitem et nous, E3D, qui sommes leaders sur le projet. La Jordanie, où ils sont 2 partenaires aussi, donc il y a JUST, qui est la Jordanian University of Technology, et la municipalité d'Irbid. Le Liban, où il y a une université aussi, American University of Beirut, et la Tunisie. La Tunisie, on a la municipalité de la Marsa, et en Espagne, on a la municipalité de Carquecha, donc qui est consortie de la Ribera. Ce projet, en fait, sur ce projet, on implique le secteur public, le côté humain et le secteur privé aussi. Alors, pour vous expliquer tout ça, on a mis en place une solution qui est GDCD, qui est une solution qui a été mise en place par E3D Environnement, qui est basée sur 3 piliers. Les sciences comportementales, excusez-moi, les sciences comportementales, la technologie numérique et une interaction humaine. Pour vous expliquer un petit peu les 3 piliers, les sciences comportementales. Dans les sciences comportementales, on crée des contenus, on a des experts sur place, on a un docteur en sciences du comportement qui crée des contenus qui sont adaptés à chaque type de profil d'habitant. Sur la partie innovation, en fait, c'est tout le travail qui est mis en place et toutes les mises à jour de l'outil qu'on utilise, en fait, pour pouvoir atteindre les habitants. Et dans la partie interaction humaine, c'est en fait là que tous les agents des collectivités vont faire du porte-à-porte pour pouvoir mobiliser la population. Ici, vous pouvez voir un petit peu comment il se présente, comment se présente cet outil. C'est une tablette, en fait, où on inscrit des habitants. Et ça, c'est un petit peu l'interface, le visuel de l'interface. Il se présente un petit peu comme ça. Et c'est une interface qu'on améliore pratiquement tous les jours parce qu'on a tout un département avec des développeurs web qui s'occupent de tout ça. Et pour vous expliquer un petit peu comment ça se passe, sur la tablette, en fait, les éco-animateurs ont une interface pour pouvoir échanger en porte-à-porte ou par téléphone lorsqu'ils vont pour faire de la mobilisation auprès des habitants. Ensuite, on a une interface pour un chef d'équipe qui, lui, en fait, est là pour faire du pilotage et faire du suivi du suivi en temps réel, en fait, sur toutes les personnes qui ont été mobilisées et qui se retrouvent sur l'application aujourd'hui. Chaque habitant qu'on mobilise a un espace dédié à lui où on lui propose des gestes éco-responsables. Donc, il peut créer son espace. Il peut voir toutes les mises à jour qui ont été faites et tous les gestes qui lui sont proposés ensuite. Et il y a un espace sur le même dashboard pour chaque chef de projet pour pouvoir superviser un petit peu le suivi et après pouvoir sortir des chiffres pour voir un petit peu où est-ce qu'on en est au niveau de la mobilisation et des foyers qui ont été impliqués. Alors, pour vous expliquer le processus, là, je vais prendre l'exemple de la Jordanie. On a envoyé des courriers. On a envoyé plus de 10 000 courriers aux habitants. Ensuite, il y a eu la phase de mobilisation où, justement, les éco-animateurs, au niveau des 3 municipalités, qui ont fait du porte-à-porte pour rencontrer les habitants et leur proposer des gestes éco-responsables. On a pu obtenir 90% de coordonnées téléphoniques. Donc, 600 foyers qui ont été impliqués. Après ça, il y a eu des actions individuelles parce qu'on leur a proposé des gestes éco-responsables. On en propose généralement 3. Par ces actions-là, on a aussi, en fait, on essaye d'organiser des événements comme des journées de défis collectifs. On va en organiser une, d'ailleurs, pas longtemps, là, dans le mois de juillet, en Tunisie, pour l'événement final. Donc, on va organiser un clean-up day, on va aller nettoyer une plage. Alors, ceci passe aussi par des dialogues entre les municipalités et les habitants. Puis, pour parler de l'économie circulaire, on a essayé aussi d'impliquer certaines entreprises du secteur privé qui, eux, ont sélectionné des initiatives locales prometteuses, toujours dans ces sujets-là. Et on peut voir après toute cette phase de mobilisation et toutes ces actions qu'on a menées, les résultats avant j'ai décidé et après j'ai décidé. Voilà pour moi. C'était une petite présentation, mais je pense que j'ai été assez explicite. En gros, c'est un petit peu ça. Là, j'ai pris juste l'exemple de la Jordanie pour les résultats. On a des bons résultats aussi en Espagne, où on observe beaucoup au niveau de la population un grand changement de comportement. En France aussi, c'est pareil, parce que nous aussi, on le fait, mais avec d'autres municipalités sur place.
Great, thank you, Dolores. It's great to see this behavioral change in the citizens. So it's congratulations for the results. We will now move to the second presentation in this session, which is for the Reuse Med project, which focuses on enhancing and disseminating the reuse principle. Farah Davou from the Solid Waste Management Department at the Ministry of Local Administration in Jordan will present the results of the capacity building activities of this project.
Hello everyone, I just will share my presentation. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for the Med4Waste for giving us this opportunity. Actually, my presentation will be very short in order to keep the time. Just I will speak quickly about the Ministry of Local Administration and Dar Ala municipalities, which are the main partners of Reuse Med projects, which is Mediterranean Basin reuses. Actually, Ministry of Local Administration, it's one of the biggest ministries in Jordan, and it's responsible for 102 municipalities. And its main vision is to able to fulfill the comprehensive and sustainable local development, where Dar Ala municipality actually is located at Balka governorate, and it has about 60,000 people and responsible for 7 areas where the nature of Dar Ala municipality actually is agriculture. Now moving just to make a small introduction about Reuse Med project, because we don't have enough time to speak a lot. Actually, Reuse Med project, it's an environmental project that focuses on the reuse, on promoting the reuse concept among the Mediterranean countries, which support mainly the concept or the approach of the circular economy that's aiming to protect the environment and to create green jobs. Actually, we are 8 partners from 4 Mediterranean cities: Cordoba at Spain, Capanori at Italy, Sakiet Zayt, Tunisia, and Dar Alla in Jordan. In the Reuse Med project, the total cost it's about 3.3 million, where 90% is the contribution of the EU under the ENI-CBC Med program, and the duration of this project is 36 months. Actually, we are now in the closure stage. Of course, if you need more information, you can visit the website of ENI-CBC Med program and go to Reuse Med project. And of course, you are welcome for any question about the project. You can contact me on my email. Actually, we did a lot of activities, and we have main 6 work packages. Today, our presentation focuses more on the capacity building. In this regard, I would like just to mention that the capacity building actually it starts from day 1 of this project, because it's a participatory project approach. And mainly there are 3 main packages that focuses on this. On the capacity building aspect, which are the exchange knowledge and identifying the good practices, also in identifying the applicable reuse circuits under the work package number 4. And there is a specific or special work package that designated for conducting training courses. Actually, after identifying the good practices that reflects the experience and the knowledge of the local community of Dar Alla in the reuse aspect, and after conducting a survey in order to know the acceptance of the local community for such a project and such innovative ideas, we conducted several meetings, which called co-design meetings, and after that we identify the suitable and practical reuse circuits that can be implemented at Dar Alla. Actually, we agreed to implement 5 reuse circuits, which are composed clothes, books, furniture, electric and electronic home appliances. And in order to implement the circuits and to achieve its objectives, because you know the circuits is contained of 3 main components: collection, reuse, a part that for repairing and the reuse, and the final part is for presenting this repaired or reused material and selling it. So we agreed to have 2 modalities for compost, clothes, books, as you can see in this slide. And the second modality, actually, we replaced the first part, which is collection, to be transportation, because the kind of the material, which is the material that can be reused, for example, in the furniture and electric and electronic appliances, cannot be stored in a container. That's why we're replacing it to be in a vehicle through coordinating with the municipalities, and the municipality will contact the home that have or that has this kind of material to secure the required transportation in order to transport this material to the reuse part. And after that, as I mentioned, we have the third part, which is for presenting the reused or repaired furniture and electric and electronic appliances. Now, moving to the capacity building. As I mentioned, there are three main types of the capacity building activities. The first type was through the several meetings, through the co-design meetings and the tailored social events. The second part was through a specific and designated training courses or training packages. And the third part was through the supplier for the equipment. Actually, MOLA is seeking to ensure the success and the sustainability of the operation of this circuit. Accordingly, we put conditions in all our tenders for equipment to have or to conduct a specific training for the operators in order to ensure the good and the efficient operation of this equipment. Regarding the co-design meetings and tailored social events, as I mentioned, from day one we conducted several meetings. The first meeting was for identifying the good practices that reflect the knowledge and the experience of Dir'al local community in the reuse aspect. After that, we conducted several meetings with them in order to identify the practical and the accepted reuse circuit that can be implemented at Dir'al and used by Dir'al local community. And the third one was like a social events with that covers all local community categories, women, men, youth, students, and other, in order to promote the reuse circuits in general, and in particular to promote the composting practices. Because as you know, Jordan and other, I think, Mediterranean countries, the organic material actually has the largest percentages of the let's say content of the generated waste. Accordingly, we are aiming to reduce this kind of waste, and the best solution for that is for using the composting methodologies or mechanism. And the second part, as I mentioned, we have designated training packages. Actually, we conducted three types of training packages. And here I would like to mention that all these kind training packages that I will mention, it's also conducted at the other cities of Reuse Med project, like Zayt, Cordoba, and Capanori at Italy. So the first one was for the people who has basic knowledge of the composting, which was for farmers. We actually trained 200 farmers in order to be trainers for the other people in the local community, to give them more information and to help them to understand this mechanism and this technology. And the second one was actually to raise the awareness for the people who are don't know, or who are don't have enough information about the composting. So we trained about 200 people from all local communities, categories, women, men, youth, students, and other. The third one was actually, which is the most important training packages, because it's dealing with the unemployed people. Actually, in our project, we encourage the people to use the reuse circuits. In this regard, and in order to fulfill the circular economy concept for creating new jobs, we cooperated with the Vocational Institute in Jordan, which is under the responsibility of Ministry of Work, in order to give training, and this training actually for targeting four topics: the electric maintenance and the supplying of the solar panels, and how to repair them, because as you know, there is an expiry lifespan for the solar panel, and also for the carpentry, because we are dealing or we are implementing furniture circuits. So we have to train people on carpentry aspects. And also we have dealing with the handmade also a topic. So this training actually enable the people in Dar Allah, 50 people in Dar Allah, actually they are most of them from youth and women, to have jobs in these 5 circuits. The third activity, or the third, of course, all our training, before I move to the third type, all our training packages has 2 parts. The first part, theoretical, and we have curricula or training material resulted from each training package that can be, used for training in other cities in Jordan or other country. And the second part was practical, to ensure the good understanding of the theoretical part. As I mentioned, Mola was seeking on ensuring that these circuits will be success and sustainable. That's why in our tenders, we put conditions for the suppliers to make training for the operators. For example, for the composting equipment, actually the compost circuits, it's one of the most or the main circuits of the 5 circuits that are implemented now in Dar Allah. That's why there will be a specific training for the operators, actually for 30 days, in order to ensure that they get all the knowledge to operate this kind of equipment. As I mentioned, there will be also a curricula or material after, or we can name it like a manual for that would be used as a guideline for any operators who cannot attend the training that will be given by the supplier. Actually, here are some photos of.
If you can sum up, please.
Yes. Yes, actually, I done. I just this is the photos just for our activities, and of course, as I mentioned, if you need any information, you can contact me either on my mobile number or in my email that's shown on the slide. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your complete presentation and the great package of capacity building and training activities that you are performing with that you perform with the project. So congratulations on that work. You also have some questions on the chat, so if you could answer them, it will be great. Thank you. We will now move to the third speaker. Thank you, Farah. We will now move to the presentation of Itxaso Euba from Formació i Treball. She will showcase the work of Circles project, overcoming the youth unemployment through greener jobs in the waste management sector. Itxaso, if you can start, please.
Thank you. I am going to share my screen. I don't find. Where is the option to share the screen? I don't.
It should say compartir pantalla at the bottom.
I don't show. I don't
No.
see. Oh, yeah. Now.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah, can you see it?
We can see it. Yes.
Okay. So. Okay, I'm going to speak, I hope that not more than 5 minutes. I'm going to explain the training and job recruitment of for NEET and women of the Circles project, a project financed by NICBC Med, and a project of social inclusion and fight against poverty. I'm going to explain how was the training and where this training was done, and the capacity buildings of the compost areas installed for to develop these trainings. The first step was to do the training curricula. We made curricula of hard skills, soft skills, and entrepreneurial skills. Hard skills, fourth module of hard skills, for example, environmental and education for bio-waste separate collection that the Waste Agency of Catalonia, the leader of this project, done. Then the second module about waste separate collection, also made by the Waste Agency of Catalonia. The third module about local and community composting, made by Ramon Plana, an expert in compost. And the fourth module, the use of compost in organic farming, done by the Consorzio Italiano Compostatori, the Italian partner of the project. Then we have also done the training of soft skills, cognitive, social, and relational skills, done by us, the FITEI. And then the trainees also received the entrepreneurial skills training course. Then some of the countries presented sub-grants related with project in circular economy. We announced the training course in all the countries. We selected the trainees, and we selected, first of all, women. The NEET, just that were between 18 years old and 24 years old, more or less. All of them people in risk of social exclusion from the municipalities where the pilots were situated. In total, in Circles, we trained 286 trainees. Then for the training course, we used digital tools, and we have done also a diffusion of these training courses in social media, web pages, institutional web pages, and Circles web page. And we recruited the trainees that attended at least 80% of the training course, passed the exams of the 3 skills, hard, soft, and entrepreneurial skills. And after the selection procedure, we hired in different countries a different number of people. In total, we hired 166 workers, people all in risk of social exclusion. Then I would like to show you some videos that they can tell you more than the words, how the pilots well, this is the case of our pilot in Vilaseca, situated in Vilaseca in Tarragona. It was installed to do these training courses, and we hired people to work in these pilots. So if you want to share the videos, I am going to leave the presentation. Marce, can you share the first video, please?
Sure.
If you want, I can explain you. If we put
Great.
it without music, I can. Okay, this is our pilot. This is a community compost area. And here you can see how we receive the organic waste. We separate manually, all the process is manual. And our workers, in this case, they were 4 workers in this moment, they are working with these composters. We have 24 composters. This is our waiting stage. And this is the video that shows how our workers has the skills to work in this type of composting area. Mixture that is going to be manual. This compost area is situated in area of municipal property of Vila Seca. And we are receiving the organic waste of Portaventura World Resort and another hotel situated not far, more than 10 kilometers far away. It's La Marinada Hotel. Then I am going to show you the training, the practicum part of the training course. Can you share the other video, please?
Estem aprenent a fer compost a través de residus
in
orgànics.
Catalan, but
Treballem la matèria fins que
is
arriba.
explaining how
Hi ha 2 parts, una part teòrica que fem
they are working the practical part of the training course.
a la Torre d'en Dolça.
Aquest projecte el que faran és que hi haurà 6 persones que quedaran contractades, però la resta no. Llavors, que tinguin l'oportunitat d'aquesta resta, doncs que ja surten amb el seu currículum, surten amb coneixent-se més.
He is Manel. He was also hired for the Circles project, and he developed the hard skills. So they have received 100 hours of training, and they have done the practicum here in the compost area. So they had received all the training skills in order to be hired. We have trained 24 trainees, and then we have had 11 people working in Torre Dolça compost area. And they are explaining all the experiences that most of them, they have now another work. They have finished working in here in Vila Seca, and now they have another job in other places related with circular economy. So this was my presentation, and if someone has questions, then you can ask me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ichazo. And I also suggest, well, Jumana just wrote on the chat to check the other videos that are on the website. And also, Ichazo, if you want to send the other links that you sent, there are English subtitles in some cases, and it's really interesting to hear the opinion of the trainees. So without further ado, we will move now to the round table. Sorry, I see a hand raised. Please post the question in the chat because we are having some time concerns. So we will move now to the round table. I will let Haris from Med4Waste to introduce the topic and the speakers. He is also a partner of the Med4Waste project.
Thank you, Mercedes. Thank you all for joining us today in this very interesting and lively webinar. My name is Haris Palioyanis, and I'm a policy officer and project manager at Med4Waste, the major Mediterranean federation of 134 NGOs in 28 countries working on environment, culture, and sustainable development. We have seen today that there is an overall agreement that along with technology and policy and legal frameworks being in place, access to finance to make a green and fair transition to circularity actually happen, this requires also the right mindset and skills to be in place as well. So in this roundtable session, we will discuss with a diverse and experienced panel of speakers about their insights on what are the enabling factors to strengthen capacity of key agents of the waste management chain in order to deliver the transition and create the enabling environment to be able to enforce it. And this will... Sorry?
Go ahead.
Sí.
Try to
La de 3.000, no, es mes. Sí,
Pinchazo,
sí.
you can mute the microphone, please. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, without further ado, I will first of all kindly ask all the panelists to be as concise as possible in their answers and respect the time limitation as we are already short of time. We will start with Mr. Anis Ismail, who is a key expert of the EU-funded project Water and Environment Support in the ENI Southern Neighborhood region that contributes to enhancing the capacity of various stakeholders in the Mediterranean region involved in pollution reduction and waste management. So in the 3.5 years that WES is running, the project has trained hundreds of stakeholders, various levels in many thematics, and through a number of regional and national activities, from traditional capacity building trainings, but also peer-to-peer processes and field visits. So Anis, what feedback do you get from the trainees in terms of the most effective capacity building schemes based on their actual needs, but also their expectations?
Thank you, Haris, for your question. Hello, everybody. And thanks for this opportunity to contribute in this interesting discussion roundtable about the capacity building impacts and lessons learned. Please allow me to introduce very quickly the WES project. WES is a regional EU-funded project implemented in 9 partner countries. WES contributes to address the country needs to tackle problems related to environment, pollution prevention, and water use efficiency in the Mediterranean Sea through technical assistance and capacity building activities. We have activities at the regional, sub-regional, and national levels. And we do have also a component on the consolidation, capitalization, replication of results and lessons learned, which is a very important component of the project. The main topics are, for the environment component, are on curbing plastic pollution and marine litter, on the promotion of green and circular economy, on prevention of and reduction of pollution from the specific industrial sectors, and on mainstreaming integrated environmental management. Under the environment component, we have around 24 regional activity, and we have also around 20 national activities. And the actions include policy advice for decision makers, support for improvement of regulatory frameworks, development of strategies and action plans, and training and capacity building for strategy implementation. So these actions contribute to supporting countries in implementing, in meeting their regional and Mediterranean agendas and commitments, and also, of course, in developing and implementing their national environmental and water strategy and programs. So we start by designing and conceptualizing the activities jointly with the partners. So WES is a regional project, as I said, that capitalizes on previous successful EU-funded projects. Since 10 years, we have been involved in the Horizon 2020 and Swim Horizon 2020 project. We have a good synergy with other programs, with the UFM labeled project, plastic busters capitalization, with the Tomali labeled project, with Med4Waste, with Klima, with Remed, with SwitchMed. So one pillar, I would say, of our intervention is first to keep a good connection and synergy with other national and regional projects. And we start by assessing the needs of the countries jointly, again, jointly with them. We have a flexibility with the partners. We do fix a work plan, and we do discuss and adjust annually the work plan with the partners, and then through the design, the conceptualized activities with the TORs. webinars, where also we fix objectives, expected outcomes, concepts, and impact indicators. So I wanted to start by this, just for you to know how we start. That we start trying to jointly with the partners, being always flexible, responsive to priorities, to emerging priorities, a bit flexible again in terms of capacity building and technical assistance. So the aim of the project is always to implement impacting actions, ownership, consolidation, dissemination, follow-up, transfer. The activities covers depending on the topic, depending on the stakeholders, covers a number of ways, I would say. From training, workshops, from study visits, from to European and the Southern Mediterranean region. We have also a number of webinars, coached peer-to-peer exchanges, and mentoring. Most of the time there is linkage between regional and national activities. There is also cooperation, coordination between countries, between peers from each country. And we look at the state of the art, but more important on the implementable practices within the region. In the capacity building activities, we have a number of techniques. We have, of course, the quizzes, the exercises, and the evaluation in situ and via questionnaires. And we, since now 2 years, we started developing also short videos that are presented during the events. And at the end, we provide certificates, of course, at the end of the training. All capacity building reports include a session on evaluation of the training, feedback of trainers and trainees, impact assessment results, stakeholders engagement, and follow-up actions. And all reports, guideline, training materials are uploaded on the project websites. And most of the time, we receive positive feedbacks on the way we design and implement the capacity building activities. I want, if you still have a few seconds, to share with you some examples where
please go
hearing, yes. Hearing from you this morning, the example from Mehdiya, the Klima, for the Klima Med Mehdiya, Mr. Mohammed Boussafara, he referred to the project on composting. And we have provided under WES for Tunisia a mentoring process where with the CITET and with the municipality of Mehdiya for the implementation of this composting plant, a coaching process, a mentoring, where we also contributed in the development of green public procurement guidelines. So the contracts, the guidelines for the construction of the composting plant that was constructed under Klima project, it was also, we have provided a contribution in coaching through peer-to-peer process, practitioners and the partners involved in that project. We have also synergy with, for example, a second example in terms of peer-to-peer through webinars with REMED on the topic that was referred to this morning on the construction demolition waste. We have also contributed with synergy with REMED project in the peer-to-peer process. We started by the peer-to-peer process. We identified the topics, the priority topics for the partners, and then we designed and conceptualized the project, and we organized a field visit in Marseille. Same on the topic of food and organic waste. We have organized, we start by peer-to-peer, conceptualize with the partners, and then implement the activities with series of webinars and then field visits in European and within the region. So there are field visits, but we try always to document case studies, results, and share lessons learned. We have also with UFM organized the online, developed the online repository on best practices for waste reduction. Here, I would like to make an appeal also to all partners also to contribute, and maybe within the discussion, we can find the way maybe to have a better synergy with other projects where also we can also feed this repository where we have case studies, around 20 case studies from the region, where also we document the process, lessons learned, and the aim is, of course, to share the results within the region. So this is an open call to everybody to also try to have synergy and to consolidate our efforts. We have also the last example is about, for example, we developed with the university in Algeria an online course on circular economy and green business, and that was has targeted the students, and we have developed this course with the university, and all material, all results are uploaded on the WES website and on the partners websites. So through these, very quickly through these example, I wanted to share with you some of our activities where also we try to answer to address requested priority of partners. So we adapt to the partner. If we have time, we can also talk later about the importance of selecting the best stakeholders, to adapting to the stakeholders, and to assess the impact with the stakeholders. And I'm happy to see with us today our partners, colleague from RAED, from SR Plus, from MIO, also, who are part of the consortium in charge of the implementation of WES project. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anis, for sharing your experiences and the important work of the WES project. I posted on the chat also the website, the repository of best practices, that it was developed for the project. And I see that you also have another question from Jumana that you are more than welcome to answer in the chat, is about whether WES have also implemented any pilots or focus only on training and raising awareness. But you made clear that the approach that you followed is a blended, mixed approach of capacity building activities.
Can I answer it now? So just very quickly, but on the pilot, we do have synergy with other projects that are, as I said, for example, for Med4Waste, we contribute in partners, but we do not have direct contribution in any investment. So it is mainly capacity building and technical assistance project. But for under the water component, I talked only about the environment component, but under water component, we do provide assistance in implementing the demonstration project for water. This is another project component of the project.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Now, moving now to Ms. Ghada Ahmadain, the technical coordinator of the Arab Network for Environment and Development, RAED, which has more than 300 NGO members from Arab countries in North Africa and West Asia. Ghada, you have extensive experience in working with international and regional agencies, governments, NGOs, grassroots organizations, media, but you have also led many initiatives that have built the capacities of the Egyptian youth and university students to mainstream sustainability in different sectors and achieve the SDGs and Egypt's vision to 2030. One of them being, of course, waste management. So please, how, from your experience, can we support more inclusive opportunities for younger people to access green jobs and develop green skills in sectors that they are closely linked to waste management?
Thank you, Harris. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to participate in this very interesting webinar and to know more about all the ongoing projects and initiatives and so on. Actually, yes, and as you have mentioned, we have an intensive experience with dealing with different stakeholders. However, we're focusing on youth and how to equip youth with the different skills and knowledge to be able to have opportunities on the green jobs. Actually, from our experience, we have discovered that there are certain pillars that we should focus on, and I think now, after hearing the previous speakers, we cannot ignore the first and the very important pillar on education and training. Actually, the different trainings now, with the certificates and the digital ones and the online courses and so on. I was very pleased to know that the Med4Waste online course, which is very interesting, and I'm very happy to hear that it's going to be in Arabic again, and through RAED we can disseminate this among all our network as well. So this is very important. Also, the awareness reaching out to schools, universities, community members, women, the different stakeholders. This is very important as well, focusing on, the waste reduction, the recycling, the composting, as we saw in the previous video, which is very interesting actually. The young generations, they need the support, the access to resources. However, not only funding, the resources, they can be tools, equipment, knowledge, technologies, which are very important. Actually, from our experience, we have, as you all know, Egypt has hosted two very important events during the past few years. Actually, the first one was the CBD COP14 in Sharm el-Sheikh in 2018, and also COP27 last year. And this was a very good opportunity to develop the capacities and the knowledge of not only youth, but the community in large, about the environment, about the sustainability, about the different issues. The climate change was very important as well. We had a very successful initiative last year that started early 2022 till the COP. And then it's also, we are continuing those initiatives as well to develop the capacities of the civil society organizations, and also focusing on the youth through partnering with universities and the Ministry of Youth, which are the main actors. Also, we have started in 2022 a volunteering program, and now we have more than 500 young men and women in cooperation with the universities, and we have a digital platform that we are providing the technical knowledge on the different fields of sustainable development, and also the different skills like leadership skills, the communication skills, the designing and planning for initiatives, project management, and so on. And actually, most of those volunteers now are engaged in our initiative that we have started this year about the single-use plastic and banning the single-use plastic products that we have started this year under the auspices of the Minister of Environment and the Minister of Health. And we are having a lot of activities, and we're planning more for the coming 2 years as well. So training, education, awareness, providing resources are the main pillars of engaging youth in green opportunities and green jobs. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kada. It's really impressive to hear about all of the work that you have done and the continuation of engaging the youth and volunteers in other projects and initiatives. We will have to move now to Mr. Jean-Benoit Bell, who is the Senior Project Management of ACR+, the Association of Cities and Regions for Sustainable Resource Management. He's in charge of the European Observatory for Municipal Waste Recycling Performances, and involved also in different projects on the technical aspects of waste management, especially regarding waste data collection and the organic waste fraction. So Jean-Benoit, we see that we hear in each country, region, and city, conditions are very different. They face very specific challenges, and they face varying gaps and needs to be addressed. So based on the ACR+ experience with many types of methodologies for supporting your members, mostly the local and regional authorities, to deliver stronger policy and regulatory frameworks, what seems to be the best to achieve tangible and implementable results?
Well, thanks a lot for having me here today, and congrats for all the speakers for all the very inspiring presentation that you had this morning. Just quickly, ACR+, we are an association bringing together cities and regions, mostly in Europe, but also a bit outside. We also have activities in the Med area. And we focus on circular economy in general, and in waste management, but also more general topics on circular economy. And we see ourselves more as a technical network, meaning that our key core business, let's say, is to bring together cities, identify and share good practices, and try to support them to move toward a circular economy. And as you said, we've got many different cities and regions, and they've got very different needs. They're in very different contexts. So there's not one perfect solution to support them. It's more a collection of situations. Something that we do and we developed, you mentioned in your presentation, the Waste Observatory, something a bit more specific that we do is to work with data, which is not easy because data is not always easy to compare. It's inconsistent. You like data usually, but we really try to have consistent data. And we found out by doing that it's a powerful tool also to have strong evidence on what works. Indeed, everyone is different and context play a role in performances, but at some point you can still identify key general guidance that applies to everyone based on data. And you can say, if you want to go at that level of performance, we've got a bunch of cities that did that, but you can't make it unless you use that, or you will be one of a kind, let's say. So it gives you really strong evidence to support policy. You say, okay, if you want to be that ambitious and you don't want to do that, then it won't work. Data also, it helps to understand better what are the contextual factors that play a role when you want to compare, because obviously you can't transpose the good practices from a rural area to a big city. So you need to have also this kind of framework and understand who you can match together. Obviously, you want to match big cities together. You want to match cities having the same kind of weather, cities with tourism. And it gives you some keys also to understand how to provide the best support. So this approach, it allows us to identify key general recommendation, and sometimes we also provide some more tailored support to our members. And it goes, as I was saying by previous speakers, by looking at their local context, trying to understand what they do, what are the constraints, and try to find matching good practices. So it requires a bit more time, but it's also an interesting idea, and really bringing external good practices from other countries or other contexts is also eye-opening, because sometimes you're just really focusing on your own challenges and you don't think of more innovative solutions. But at some point, we see the limit also for expertise, like we can't be experts in all the details, and really implementing new strategies is also about details. And it was mentioned before, but peer review matchmaking exercise is really important. Just to match together local experts working on the same topics and giving more practical answers, but also lifting doubts of imprint or apprehension. For instance, you will have local decision makers and they might be afraid that citizens will not respond positively to a change in the collection system, and having another city come or another mayor come and say, we did it and it worked this way, it worked well, or we had an opposition, but we did that. It's really stronger as a message than what I could say from my desk in Brussels, let's say. There's also a lot of innovation, and we have to work with research, technical agencies, and this is also a role we try to have in EU projects to try to do the interface between the practical implementation and more research-oriented activities. And here, what we try to do is have co-creation workshops, so bring our members in working groups together with researchers so that they can confront their research with the practicalities, because it's like we've got many tools and many reports that just dies at some point after the project because they were not aligned with the needs or the capacities of local players. So this is also something we try to do, bring together those two different worlds. And maybe also something I can mention is individual motivation or local motivation of decision makers or waste experts is important to move forward, but we also see the limit of relying only on motivation. And what is really important is the policy framework. Like if you look at all the best practices, they are generally limited in several countries. And it's not only because in those countries there are motivated people, it's because there's the right framework for those good practices to work. So having the right regulation, having the right enforcement, the right economic framework to make a circular business model feasible is also very important. So at some point we try also to understand why it works, why good practices work in some places and why not in other contexts. And we try to address that to EU policymakers or national policymakers and say that like you can't ask cities to go in that direction with this framework because it just won't work. Like after the project and all the results won't be sustainable. So maybe as a conclusion, I don't want to take too much time, but it's difficult to assess how good we are doing our work because like transitioning to other system is a long journey. It's an ongoing process. And definitely I can't say that one single project or one single study will unlock everything in one country. So we have to be flexible. But I think what is interesting and important for us is to develop this kind of culture of international exchanges to show that despite our differences, there are common goals, there are common challenges. We always tend to think that our situation, our local situation is much more complicated, but in the end, you can always find someone else facing the same challenges and you have just to talk. And maybe as a conclusion, because it was really maybe theoretical and technical, it's also a question of connecting people. Like it's very important to make people feel comfortable to not only connect organizations, but also people together. So make them feel comfortable, like develop a kind of common language together, the proper framework for changes without pressure, without judgment. And yeah, just make people feel that they're all going in the same direction. So yeah, invest in people as well. And yeah, that's it for my presentation. And I'd be happy to answer your question if you have any.
Thank you so much, Jean-Benoit. I think you really summarized some key enabling factors for the so-called transition. And yeah, I've put down one of your key points, which is data, access to data as well, sharing data, promoting this type of collaborations. This is one of the main aims also of this project. Thank you very much. And we will move now to Mr. Mahdi Komshi, the International Relations Coordinator at Business Med, who represents the Mediterranean private sector, gathering over 25 confederations of enterprises from member states of the Union for the Mediterranean, and key partner of the Med4Waste project. So Mahdi, how in your opinion can we strengthen municipal capacity to enhance public-private partnerships in waste management, as we see that it is an example and an approach that is very effective for the region?
Thank you, Harris, and I want to thank you for giving us the chance to let's say to present the private sector perspective regarding this very important let's say matter. So mainly today I represent Business Med, the Union of Mediterranean Confederation of Enterprises. As you said, Harris, that we are gathering 25 confederation of enterprises that are present in all the Mediterranean area. So mainly to answer to your question, and as we also represent the waste management sector in this country, so the first point what we want to highlight that, and it's proven that when the private companies have the responsibility of waste management through the public private partnership, we have seen that there is more efficiency and less costly than regarding the services related to transport or waste managed by the regional or local authorities. So the private sector has shown really efficiency when he have this responsibility. That's why we need to reinforce this from private sector perspective. So mainly, we have seen in all the Mediterranean, especially in the southern Mediterranean country, that there is the solid waste laws have not done enough to encourage the involvement of the private sector in the waste management. And in some countries, it's the opposite. It's kind of obstacle that the private sector need to resolve. Either he focus on the work, they are focusing mainly on the problem that they are facing regarding the flexibility, in terms of flexibility, in terms of reform, in terms of incentive. So mainly we should establish a clear institutional framework. And we have seen some good example, like for example in Jordan,
Sorry, apologies for this.
Yeah, we have seen some good example, like in Jordan, there is an action plan which aim to encourage and enhance, promote the sustainable waste management for 2021 and 2025, for example. And in some cases, we have seen that really it's kind of obstacle for the SMEs to connect with the municipality. And we need to work on that and to encourage more the involvement of the private sector. So mainly also regarding the public-private partnership, also we have seen that there is some case that it didn't work, mainly for a lot of reasons. And that's why we want, when there is prior entering into this kind of partnership, the municipalities and the private sector need to conduct really a feasibility study before start. And also they need to know and assess the waste generation, the composition, the quantity. And we have seen that also there is in some cases where even the municipality, they don't have the means to know how many, let's say, the quantity, the waste generated, the composition, and it's very important and could help also the efficiency of the private sector from the first, and could help also the success of the public-private partnership. Also, one of the most important, I think, key point, it's the transparent and the fair procurement process. And in some cases, we heard from some private actors in the waste management that there is a lack of understanding of the procurement, and there is, let's say, some problem in that one. And here we need to assist some municipalities in this activities to have, let's say, a clear framework of work between the two entities. Also, we need to monitor and evaluate the performance of this kind of partnership. And this could bring us to have lesson learned and to understand the things that we could improve and the things that we need to resolve. So maybe it's very important. Also the municipality, when they are active and participate in some regional and international network, it's very, very important. And we have seen from the case study that you have seen today, for example, from the municipality of Mahdaïa and from the municipality that we are working with in the Med4Waste project, we have seen that when municipality is active in this kind of network, in this kind of opportunity, like in ICBC Med, it's very important. And we find that the municipality are aware of their challenges and they know what their needs, and the contact and the matchmaking between the private sector and the waste and the local authority are easier than the other cases. Also, I want to highlight that the region and the public authority also need to start this kind of partnership. And we have seen this, for example, in the region of Catalonia and the Generalitat of Catalonia. For example, we had the chance to visit Vila de Cans, which they're creating partnership between some enterprises and the municipality. And we want to, let's say, to encourage this kind of initiative, let's say, to enhance this sustainable public-private partnership in waste management. And that's what we are trying to do with the Med4Waste project, in our role to give and to finance 2 SMEs by municipality to solve their challenges and to help them, let's say, to enhance their waste management capabilities. So maybe this is some idea really we think that could help from private sector perspective to enhance the waste management and to enhance the public-private partnership. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mahdi. And it's really encouraging to hear that the work of Med4Waste and similar capitalization projects and the whole approach of the program is actually helping the municipalities to address their case-specific challenges. Last but not least, we have with us Mr. Victor Carvajal, who is the Strategic and Territorial Project Coordinator in Bethel Technological Center and has participated in different research and innovation projects on resources management. So the European Commission's Joint Research Center, which is a new initiative, brings science to Europe's region to enhance evidence-informed policy making and have a more clear and strategic focus on topics of high relevance to regions and cities, such as the waste management. A very key point that was also highlighted by Jean Benoit. It's this science meets region, which is the introducing also pairing schemes that allow local and regional policymakers to connect with scientists and experts in an area. So from your experience, Victor, are such pairing schemes a silver bullet to enhance evidence-informed policymaking, but also improve the mutual understanding between scientists on one hand and policymakers on the other hand?
Hi, Harris. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. So first of all, I would like to thank you for inviting us in this session and become part of this great event. And I think that I'm the last speaker, so I will try to be brief as possible. So to enhance this evidence-informed policymaking, it is crucial to adopt a comprehensive approach that combines various strategies, including pairing schemes. So coming back to the question that you have asked is quite interesting because the answer will be no and yes. Let me explain. So while pairing schemes can present some limitations that prevent them from being a comprehensive solution, such as translating research into actionable policies or scope limitations, pairing schemes can certainly contribute in improving mutual understanding between scientists and policymakers. So from one side, pairing schemes such as CIMIL provide an structured platform for scientists and policymakers to engage in direct and meaningful dialogue, promoting mutual learning and knowledge exchange. They create opportunities for scientists to better understand the needs, priorities, and constraints of policymakers and for policymakers to gain insights into the latest research findings and methodologies. In fact, CIMIL allows scientists to gain a deeper understanding of the policymaking process, including political, economical, and social considerations. Let's say the real world implications, right? So by interacting directly with policymakers, scientists can appreciate the contextual traits that shape policy decisions and refine the research questions and methodologies to address policy needs, while policymakers gain access to up-to-date evidence and research expertise to inform the decision maker. But Harry, something that I want to point out is the capacity of pairing schemes to build trust, as regular engagement forces trust and credibility between scientists and policymakers. By establishing personal connections and ongoing relationships, scientists and policymakers develop mutual respect, understanding, and appreciation for each other's roles and expertise. This trust building is vital for effective collaboration, as it encourages policymakers to rely on scientific evidence and advice, while scientists gain confidence that their research is valued and used in policymaking decisions and processes. So talking more into detail about this project, about CIMIL, as you said, Harris, the GRC, the Joint Research Center, launched the first pilot call to implement several decentralized and variable geometry pairing schemes in different regions in Europe. A total of 9 initiatives were funded, being Beta Technological Center, one of the coordinators of one of these programs. In particular, this pairing scheme, called CIMIL project, allows local and regional policymakers from Central Catalonia here in Spain to connect with scientists who are experts in the topic of municipal organic waste to solve challenges that policy professionals are working on. The number of professionals that have access to the program is only 24, and the profile of the participants range from municipal technicians and professionals to local councillors up to political leaders who will be selected from a call. So therefore, each decision maker or political professional will receive a tailor-made and totally free program which will be based on direct contact with different researchers to solve the challenges and problems posed by the participants themselves, offering eventually innovative solutions and scientific advice. This is all that I want to share with you. I hope that I have been brief enough.
Yes, and thank you. We will be looking forward to the next steps of CMIL. Unfortunately, we're a little bit ahead of time, so I would like to thank all of our panelists and the participants who have stayed with us this whole time. Merce, moving back to you for some concluding remarks.
Just very briefly, as you said, we are already 15 minutes ahead of time, so I won't take longer. Just thank you everyone again. I think we had a great package of experiences, of trainings, capacity buildings, skills that are crucial to shift to more circular and sustainable practices when it comes to waste management. And we believe that that's the work of the Med4Waste project as well, to capitalize and to transfer and to reuse the information that is already done, that is already there. And there's lots of activities and lots of knowledge available. So we just need to find it and to reuse it and to adapt it to our needs in order to make the Mediterranean greener, let's say. So we will just conclude the webinar now. We will send you an email with a survey, a satisfaction survey, as well as with the link to the recording of the webinar. Also, if you have any other questions or you would like to hear more about the project, don't hesitate to follow us on social media. We will also post the email for direct questions. And that's it. Thank you very much to all the panelists, speakers, and participants as well. And we hope to see you in the next Med4Waste activities. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.